Hello, my karmically connected friend. In a noisy world that constantly demands connection, do you ever feel panic when faced with yourself? We often make the harmful mistake of equating being alone with loneliness. But according to the wisdom of awakening, true happiness does not come from external validation, but sprouts from a steadfast inner self. Knowing how to live happily alone is not being abandoned. It is a wonderful life skill. Please remember, the stillness of being alone is not loneliness. It is where peace begins. Today, join me in learning how to return to take refuge in yourself. Lesson 1. Rewire your mind about solitude. Let's begin by bravely dismantling the old prejudices we have carried for so long. Society often labels being alone with very sad tags: abandoned, eccentric, or failed in relationships. It is this fear of being labeled that makes us constantly seek to fill time with meaningless encounters, just to escape the feeling of facing ourselves. But under the lens of wisdom, try looking again. Solitude is completely different from loneliness. Loneliness is the feeling of lack and suffering when you crave the presence of others but are not met. The stillness of being alone is a state of sufficiency, autonomy, and freedom. When you are alone, you are released from all pressures to perform. You don't need to wear social masks, don't need to strain to please anyone, and most importantly, you are not affected by the chaotic energies of the crowd. That is when you are completely naked and truthful with your emotions. There is a powerful truth I want you to engrave in your heart. A person who finds peace in stillness is a person who cannot be shaken. Why? Because inner strength is never nurtured in noisy hustle and bustle. It is like tree roots, which can only grow strong and anchor deep into the earth in silent darkness. When you learn to be at peace when alone, you are building a steadfast house within. Even if there are storms outside, even if others come or go, your soul's house remains serene and immobile. Practical advice for you: don't wait until you are abandoned by life to learn how to be alone. Actively choose it. Every day, dedicate at least 15 to 20 minutes to turn off your phone and separate yourself from everyone. Sit still in your private space. Do nothing. Just listen to the passing thoughts. Don't fear silence. When you make friends with stillness, you will realize you have never been alone, because you have found the most wonderful soulmate, yourself. Lesson 2. Create a personal universe. When you stop viewing being alone as a state of lack, a miraculous door will open. It is the opportunity for you to personally create a rich universe of your own, where joy does not depend on the presence of anyone else. We often spend too much time living others' lives, watching what others do, listening to what others say, and behaving according to their expectations. But when alone, you have a luxurious privilege: absolute freedom. This is when you are allowed to be yourself most nakedly, without fear of judgment. You can draw a scribbled picture, sing a song off-key, or immerse yourself in a book for hours. No one evaluates you. No one laughs at you. In that silent space, creativity that has been buried by life's pressures will begin to sprout. Remember this saying: silence becomes a wondrous adventure when you know how to fill it with meaning. Instead of sitting there waiting for someone to message you, actively enrich your soul's garden. A person with a rich inner life never knows boredom. They are busy with their own elegant joys. So how to start this journey? I invite you to make a list of soul-nourishing activities that you can do alone today. Read inspiring books. Look for reading about sages, stories of compassion, Let the wisdom of humanity water your mind. Journal. Turn the page into a soulmate. Write down thoughts, secret dreams. This is the deepest way to dialogue with yourself. Learn a new skill. It could be flower arranging, learning a foreign language, or practicing meditation. Learn not to compete or show off, but to feel the joy of progress. When you are busy building your personal universe, you will notice a miraculous transformation. You no longer feel lonely. You begin to love the time spent beside yourself, and that happiness shines by itself, radiant and sustainable. Lesson 3. Deep Self-Conversation. My dear friend, answer this question honestly. How long has it been since you had a real conversation with yourself? Every day, we spend hours talking to colleagues, messaging friends, or listening to noisy news from society. We ask for advice from everywhere, but forget the wisest teacher, the one who understands our life best, ourselves. Silence is not just a space to rest, but the perfect environment for introspection. When external noises subside, that is when the true inner voices have a chance to be heard. In this lesson, I invite you to practice a deep interview with your soul. Put down the questions you have been avoiding for so long. What truly makes me happy? Note, not what makes your parents happy or what society considers successful, but what truly makes your heart vibrate. What is holding me back? Is it fear of failure, laziness, or unhealed old wounds? Don't rush to find the answer immediately. Let that question hang in your mind and observe the feedback from intuition. There is a beautiful truth that when you start listening to yourself, you become your own guide. You no longer need to run outside to seek validation or another map. Inner wisdom has always been there, just waiting for you to be still enough to recognize it. Practice method. So this conversation doesn't turn into wandering speculation, I advise you to use the tool Thought Journal. When a thought or emotion rises, write it down on paper. Writing it out helps you separate yourself from the chaotic stream of thoughts. Practice with the attitude of mindfulness. Observe your answers without judgment. If you find yourself afraid, don't write, "I am so weak." Write, "I notice fear is present." Make friends with every corner of your soul, including the dark corners. When you understand yourself, loneliness will disappear, replaced by empathy and deep appreciation for this eternal companion. Lesson 4. Escape from the entertainment trap. My dear friend, observe a natural reflex of ours. When you sit alone in a coffee shop waiting for friends, or when standing in an elevator, what is the first action you take? Is it unconsciously reaching into your pocket, taking out the phone and starting to scroll? We are living in an era where silence has become something scary. We fear empty spaces. We fear the feeling of nothing to do. And so we rush into the sweet trap named entertainment. Social media, news, short videos, they provide the brain with quick and easy doses of dopamine, pleasure hormone. But look deeply into the nature of this action. Why are we so addicted to digital noise? The answer might startle you. We entertain not to find joy, but to escape. We use external sound to drown out the inner voice. We use strangers' stories to avoid facing our own story. We fear that if we put the phone down, we will have to face sadness, anxiety, or the feeling of emptiness waiting to surface. There is a profoundly poignant saying, if silence scares you, it's because you've been away from yourself for too long. When you depend entirely on external stimuli to feel okay, you are losing emotional autonomy. You are like a puppet, and the phone is the puppeteer. A notification ping makes you happy. Bad news makes you sad. Your happiness lies in the hands of unfeeling algorithms. That is not freedom. That is subtle slavery. To regain inner strength, we need to detox. Not discarding technology, but learning to master it. Practice exercise, digital detox. I challenge you to do this today. Dedicate 30 minutes each day to perform a digital detox. During those 30 minutes, turn off phones, TVs, computers. Sit still in your room or walk without wearing headphones. Initially, the feeling of itching, restlessness, wanting to reach for the phone will appear. That is the addiction speaking. Do not indulge it. Observe that discomfort, smile at it, and continue sitting still. Practice facing boredom. In Buddhism, when you overcome surface restlessness, you will touch the deep layer of serenity. Like a glass of muddy water, if you keep stirring, constant entertainment, it will always be cloudy. But if you let it sit long enough, stillness, the mud will settle and the water will become clear. Have the courage to put the device down to pick up your own soul. True peace is not on the screen. It lies in your breath, right now. Lesson 5. Develop silent strength. My dear friend, when mentioning strength, we often think of things that are big, loud, or the ability to impact others. But in the world of awakening, there is a nobler, more durable type of strength, which is silent strength. Silent strength is the ability to stand firmly on your own feet without needing anyone as a prop. It is the ability to self-determine your worth without waiting for applause. It is serenity and self-reliance even if surrounded by storms of judgment. Look back at how we usually live. Most of us spend our lives begging for value from others. We wear a nice outfit and wait for others to compliment. We do a good deed and wait for others to recognize. We post a photo and hold our breath waiting for likes. We hand the key to our happiness to the crowd. If they praise, we are overjoyed. If they criticize or ignore, we collapse and feel worthless. Living like that, isn't it a form of emotional slavery? The Buddha has a heart-shaking reminder, a truth that if understood, you will cry with relief. You are already whole. You just forgot. Imagine you are a big mountain. Clouds can cover the mountain. Storms can lash at the cliffs. Snow can cover it in white. And tourists can come to praise or criticize the rugged mountain. But does the mountain become higher because of praise? No. Does it become lower because of criticism or snowstorms? No. The mountain remains imposing, majestic, and complete in its essence. It knows clearly who it is. It does not need the cloud to confirm its existence. When you accept solitude and spend time alone, you are practicing being that mountain. In stillness, you begin to separate yourself from noisy judgments. You realize that your value does not lie in titles, does not lie in account balances, and certainly does not lie in the world's tongues. Your value lies in a kind soul, in the wisdom you cultivate, and in the love you have for life. People with silent strength do not need to prove they are happy. They do not need to shout, "Look at me, I'm living very well." They simply live well, and the peace radiating from them is the most eloquent proof. Practice. A date with yourself. Challenge to cultivate this inner strength. I invite you to perform a small challenge, but one requiring great courage. Go out and do something alone. It could be eating at a favorite restaurant, going to see a movie, or walking in the park. I know. The first fear to appear will be, how will everyone look at me? They will think I'm lonely, have no friends. It's weird to eat alone. That is the spotlight effect. We imagine the whole world is looking at us, but actually everyone is busy with their phones and their own worries. Bravely step past that fear. When you sit to eat alone, eat in mindfulness. Feel the flavor of the food without needing to make small talk. When you walk alone, feel your footsteps touching the ground without needing to glance around to see who is noticing. The first time might be awkward, but by the second, third time, you will feel an ultimate liberation. You will realize, oh, I'm still fine. I can enjoy this joy alone without needing anyone. The moment you enjoy solitude in a crowd without fear, that is when silent strength within you awakens. You are no longer a beggar for happiness. You have become a creator of happiness. You trust in your own wisdom and guidance. And a person who does not fear loneliness is a person no one can intimidate. Lesson 6. Solitude is a journey of self-discovery. My dear friend, do you ever ask yourself, who am I really if I strip away names, strip away titles, and strip away social roles? Most of us live our whole lives as strangers to ourselves. We know very well what celebrities like to eat, where friends are going, but remain vague about the true desires of our own souls. Lesson 6 opens a new horizon. Solitude is not an empty room, but a laboratory of life. It is the safest place for you to begin the greatest journey of a human life, the journey of self-discovery. First aspect, freedom to experiment and find unique identity. When in a crowd, we often unconsciously copy others' interests to fit in. We listen to the music everyone listens to, wear trendy clothes, and do things considered standard. We wear so many layers of masks that we forget what our real face looks like. But in stillness alone, no one judges you. This is the time you are allowed to experiment. Ask yourself, do I really like this job? Or do I do it because my parents want me to? Do I really like this noise? Or do I like sitting and drawing? Allow yourself to do the most silly, childish, or strange things that you were previously too shy to do. Try learning an instrument. Try writing a poem. Or try walking barefoot on grass. Solitude gives you space to make mistakes and try again. Precisely in those private moments, seeds of true talent and passion, which were buried under the dust of social prejudice, will begin to stir and reach for the sun. You will be astonished to realize you are much more interesting and rich than you thought. Second aspect, facing and transforming the past. However, the journey of self-discovery is not all rosy. When noise fades, it is also when echoes from the past rush in. This is the main reason many people fear being alone. They fear facing painful memories, old mistakes, childhood traumas they tried to bury under the carpet of busyness. But my dear friend, running away is not the way to freedom. A wound, if not washed clean, will fester forever. Silence is the necessary antiseptic. The Buddha teaches us to view the past with eyes of wisdom and compassion. Engrave this saying, the past is not who you are, it is only a teacher. You of today are not the mistakes of 10 years ago. You are the maturity distilled from those mistakes. When sad memories rush in while you are alone, do not chase them away. Invite them to sit down like old guests. Look at the pain and ask, what lesson did you come here to teach me? Maybe pain teaches you about resilience. Betrayal teaches you how to love yourself. Loss teaches you to cherish the present. In Buddhism, there is the image of the lotus and the mud. Without mud, the lotus cannot bloom. Without suffering in the past, there is no awakening today. Silence gives you time and space to compost the mud, to transform the garbage of the past into nutrients nourishing the soul's lotus. When you dare to sit still and face the darkness within, that darkness loses the power to control you. You are no longer a victim of the past. You become the master of your destiny. Practical advice for this week. To turn this lesson into action, I invite you to take 2 steps. Make a discovery list. Write down 5 things you always wanted to try but never dared or had time to do. Don't think about whether it makes money, just that it brings joy. Commit to a weekly date. Once a week, choose an activity from that list and do it alone. Go to a museum, go climbing, or sign up for a pottery workshop. Treat these sessions as sacred dates with yourself. Do not cancel. Be curious about yourself, as you would be curious about a new friend. You will see, the journey inward is the greatest and most worthwhile adventure of this life. Lesson 7. The Presence Paradox. My dear friend, we have walked together through 6 lessons, from changing mindsets to finding joy in individual hobbies. But perhaps, deep in the heart, a nagging question remains. Can I truly be happy forever when only alone? This final lesson will bring you the answer through a concept I call the presence paradox. That paradox is, when you run away from loneliness by seeking others, you will always feel lacking. But when you dare to stop and be complete with solitude, you find the greatest connection. We often mistakenly believe that happiness is an addition. Me plus lover else happiness. Me plus friends equals joy. We believe we are half a missing puzzle piece looking for the other half. Therefore, when alone, we feel empty, like a cold, deserted house. And we rush out, rush to grab the phone, rush to find a voice to fill that void. But the Buddha pointed out a shocking truth. Happiness is not something you seek. Happiness is something you return to. Memorize this mantra for your soul. Happiness is already within you. Silence just reveals it. When you are alone and feel bored, it is not because you lack others. It is because you are lacking yourself. Your body sits there, but your mind wanders in the past, in the future, or clings to external desires. You have abandoned your own soul's house, so it has become cold. The ultimate solution of Buddhism is mindfulness, complete presence in the present moment. When you practice mindfulness, loneliness transforms into solitude and true. Imagine, you are sitting alone drinking tea. If your mind thinks, I wish someone were here talking to me, immediately suffering appears. But if you put your entire attention into the cup of tea, into the warmth on your hand, into the gentle aroma, into every breath in and out, suddenly, that moment becomes full. You feel life flowing vibrantly in every cell. You connect deeply with reality. You no longer feel lacking anything. That is the secret. You are never truly lonely when you are present. When you are awake, the whole universe is with you. The breath is you, the sunlight is you, the bird song is you. The separation between me and the world dissolves. So then, how do we stop using others or phones as a place to hide from ourselves? Ultimate practice. Return to the present. I invite you to perform these 2 spiritual exercises to anchor yourself to the source of eternal happiness. 1. 10-minute breath meditation daily. This is a mandatory ritual to nurture inner strength. Every day, spend 10 minutes sitting still, back straight, eyes half closed. Do nothing. Just observe the breath. When inhaling, know you are inhaling. When exhaling, know you are exhaling. When the mind runs to find thoughts, gently bring it back. These 10 minutes are when you fully charge energy for yourself. It helps you realize, I can sit still and feel peaceful without any external stimulation. This joy is self-created. 2. Observe the addiction to escape. This is an exercise applied right in life. Next time, when you are alone and suddenly feel restless, your hand unconsciously wants to grab the phone to scroll social media. Stop. Don't pick up the phone immediately. Observe that restless feeling. Ask it, why do I want to escape this moment? What am I afraid of? Am I bored? Instead of scrolling the phone, take 3 deep breaths. Look at a flower, look at the sky, or feel your feet touching the ground. Force yourself to return to reality. Overcoming that restlessness, you will see a peaceful sky open up. You will see yourself mastering your life, not being a slave to the fear of loneliness. My dear friend, living alone is not a punishment. It is a privilege. It is time the universe gifts you to befriend yourself, to heal wounds, and to taste the flavor of absolute freedom. When you know how to be happy when alone, you will no longer enter relationships with the mindset of an emotional beggar. You will approach with the mindset of a king, a queen, whole, complete, and ready to share your abundance with others. That is the final destination. Turn solitude into your sanctuary of peace. The journey to find inner wholeness begins right at this moment. Don't wait for anyone to bring happiness. Light the inner lamp yourself through daily practice. If this video brings you peace, please hit subscribe to continue accompanying us on the path of awakening. Please share your feelings below. Goodbye, and see you again.